consider a little thought experiment with me. Let's say, for example, you're selling a car, and you put an ad in the newspaper, or not the newspaper anymore, but you put an ad online, and people come to buy your car. And let's say you have a buyer. Now, would you tell the buyer, the Blue Book value of this car is $20,000, but I want $24,000 for this car, because the extra $4,000 I'm planning to use to go on a vacation to Hawaii, and I just can imagine myself sitting by the side of the pool, drinking a margarita, enjoying this lovely vista that I have in front of me, and so I really would like to get that extra $4,000, right? All of us instantly understand that would be absurd to do. We instantly understand that when you're selling a car, someone comes to buy the car, you don't tell the person what you are going to get from the money, you tell the buyer what they are going to get from the car, right? You're focused on them. You're basically saying, the reason this car costs $24,000 rather than $20,000 is the car has this value and that value, and it's going to be reliable, and it's going to be great, and the car functions so much better than other cars of the same vintage. You're telling the story in a way that makes sense for the person who is listening to the story. Very often when we're communicating with people, we fail to understand what seems so elementary to us in the car sales example, which is that when we're marshalling arguments, we often marshal arguments that we find convincing. We marshal arguments that basically says, this is what would convince me to pursue this line of thought. You can see this in a political campaign all the time. Politicians will tell you, they'll make a case, but they're not thinking about it from the point of view, they're thinking about it from the point of them. They're saying, here's why you should vote for me. Of course, what makes sense is to do the reverse. What makes sense is to craft our arguments, even if they seem like inferior arguments, but to craft those arguments from the point of view of the people who are listening to them. And social scientists basically think about the moral frameworks that we have, the ideological frameworks that we have. When you tell me an argument that's crafted according to my moral frameworks, even if you don't share those moral frameworks, they are far more likely to be effective to me. So for example, if you want to make a case about immigration, for example, being a good thing, you might want to tell Democrats that immigration is about tolerance and respect for differences and the role the United States has played in being a beacon for poor people around the world. And that might appeal to liberals. On the other hand, you might tell conservatives, immigration is connected with having a more robust economy. Immigrants are hardworking. They often have deeply conservative values when it comes to running families. It's the same argument you're making about immigration, but you're tailoring the argument based on the moral frameworks of the people we are talking with. Very often, I think when we tell stories, we often focus on the stories that feel most compelling to us. We're not asking ourselves, what is the story that would be most appealing to the audience? And of course, that's the story we should always be telling.